Council meeting for February 4th to order has been appropriately noticed.
Yes, Your Honor, it has.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Alderman Rogers.
Here.
Alderman Rozak.
Here.
Alderman Shaw.
Here.
Alderman Ellis.
Here.
Alderman Spiegelberg. Alderman Zwart. Alderman Stray.
Here.
Kavieski.
Here.
We need a motion to approve the minutes from the December 17th, 2019, and the January 7th, 2020 meetings. Can I have a motion to, I'm not even done yet. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No one's opposed. Okay, moving on. Comments and suggestions from citizens. If anybody has something they'd like to say, fill out one of the blue cards at the podium. I have one. Bob Morgan.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor. First of all, I want to start this by saying I'm neither Republican, Democrat, Communist, Socialist, Green Party, or Libertarian, or anything in between. But I do not understand why someone chose to bring partisanship into the local thing. According to Scripture, I'm going to address my comments to Diane Conan. Did this person file a written request according to state statutes to view the nomination papers?
This is just for you to ask. We're not answering questions.
Beg pardon?
We don't answer questions here.
You don't
for
ask
this.
questions?
No, this is just for you to state your comment.
Okay, the second thing is, did this, all right, then I can't, second question I was going to ask is, did the person review everybody's nomination papers? And again, you don't answer
No,
questions.
no.
All right, then I guess, according to Doctrine of Fairness, since she chose to take the Doctrine of Fairness and review the nomination papers, and that, according to is public record, should not her name be public record? That's a, that,
No.
again, that, you don't answer that
No.
question. Okay, then, it just does not seem fair for this individual to change the complex of election. And I know Mr. Ellis, I know Mr. Magnus, I don't know Mr. Kowalski, but they're all sure very fine individuals. It does not seem fair to me, since someone to come in and change the complex of election and then hide behind an anonymous person. So I guess I said my piece, and I'll sit down and shut up. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Any other comments? Seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. Tonight, we have licenses, and we have a sanitary sewer utility easement between the city and Lake Country Village. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Alderman Rogers.
Here. Aye.
Alderman Rozak.
Aye.
Alderman Shaw.
Aye.
Alderman Ellis.
Aye.
Alderman Stray.
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to committee reports. Finance Committee, consider act on subordination, non-disturbance, and atonement agreement between City of Oconomowoc and 85 Oconomowoc LLC, Berkshire Substitute Loan Document. Could I have a motion to approve this document?
So moved. Second.
So before you tonight is substitute loan documents for the documents that we first entered into an agreement with the Berkshire Development in 2006. So recently, they are changing management, have paid off their tax credit investors, and need to refinance their loan. So this is a housekeeping item really for the city. It doesn't change our standing in any way for the loan. The loan is exactly the same as it was before. We need to sign new agreements for the HUD, for HUD.
Thank you, Lori.
You bet.
Questions? Go ahead, Matt.
You know, I'm keep trying to educate myself, you know, on this stuff. And the loan's for $175,000. It was from TIF money, right?
That's correct.
So where do we show this back in the budget then, in budget cycle, where the income comes back in or revenue from the loan
Yeah,
payments?
it actually sits on the balance sheet, not in the budget.
Okay. So it's already been somehow pulled out?
So it sits on our balance sheet as a receivable, a loan receivable.
Gotcha.
So when the loan expires, we will collect the money then.
That's like in
2040 or
36.
something?
2036.
2036, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll still be on council by then.
Let's hope I'm alive by then. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Alderman Rogers.
Aye.
Alderman Rozak.
Aye.
Alderman Shaw.
Aye.
Alderman Ellis. Alderman Stray.
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to public services. First item is consider act on a resolution awarding engineering services for bridge inspections, bridge maintenance and design with bid document for Peacock Dam with municipal dam grant application. We need a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Go ahead, Dave.
And a request for proposals was issued to hire a consulting engineer to inspect all 9 of the city's bridges, design and prepare bidding documents for a retaining wall at the northeast abutment of the North Lake Road Bridge, and also complete plans and specifications to apply for a Peacock Dam municipal dam grant. 12 consultants picked up the RFP, 1 responded, Collins Engineering. We recommend hiring Collins Engineering in the amount not to exceed $39,420 with a contingency of $3,380 for a total of $42,800.
Thank you. Any questions? Go ahead.
No, I just have one comment. I mean, I know we would all like to have more bids, we really would, but I want to thank Collins for putting in the bid that they did. At least we're able to move ahead with the projects then.
Seeing no other comments, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Alderman Rogers.
Aye.
Alderman Rozak.
Aye.
Alderman Shaw.
Aye.
Alderman Ellis.
Aye.
Alderman Stray.
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski.
Aye.
Okay, next item is consider act on a resolution authorizing participation in the Department of Natural Resources Municipal Dam Grant Program. We need a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Mark?
Thank you, Mayor. The item is connected to the one that you just approved. We're submitting for a dam grant through the DNR. Part of that process is we have to approve a resolution indicating that we would designate a person to move the project forward and sign documents. And that's the resolution before you tonight.
Thank you, Mark. Questions? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Alderman Rogers.
Aye.
Alderman Rozak.
Aye.
Alderman Shaw.
Aye.
Alderman Ellis.
Aye.
Alderman Stray.
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski.
Aye.
Okay, next item under new business, consider acting a resolution approving the increase of parking citation fine amount. We need a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Chief?
As part of the 2020 budget process, Committee of the Whole directed staff to research increasing the amount of parking citations. It was determined that parking citations were last increased in 2011. And in checking communities around us, they vary from anywhere from $20 to $30. So today's staff is recommending the approval of increasing parking citations to $30.
Questions? Go ahead, Matt.
Now, this is one of the proposals I put forward in the budget this last cycle. There's a lot of fines, fees, et cetera, that we hadn't looked at for, in some cases, decade or more in a lot of areas. And I think I encourage staff to keep finding, when there's revenue opportunities, especially things we haven't seen or looked at for, decades or 5-6 years, that we continue to look for these things. I think this is it's also a good way to address parking issues. Parking fines are a little bit more draconian, maybe we'll have less parking issues, so.
Go ahead, Lou.
To that point, implementation of those fines and the parking uniformly across is also something that we can continue to improve on. You and your staff do a great job, but hopefully we'll see more movement of cars with that additional fine.
We'll see.
Any other comments? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Alderman Rogers.
Aye.
Alderman Rozak.
Aye.
Alderman Shaw.
Aye.
Alderman Ellis. Alderman Stray.
Aye.
Alderman Kavieski.
Okay, moving on to staff reports. We have the fourth quarter strategic plan update.
Yes, thank you. We're going to give you the update as of the end of the year for the strategic plan. as you can see here, you see the slide, each quarter, we have 109 objectives and projects in the 5-year strategic plan. We're complete on about 21% of those. And then coming up in the next quarter, we'll start working on updating the strategic plan from a staff perspective and then start working with council in the beginning of the second quarter. Just want to update you on things that were completed in the fourth quarter. We finished our comprehensive plan update, and that was adopted. That went through Plan Commission and Council and a steering committee. With that, we identified our future development areas, and that was an item that was identified on the plan. We approved our funding for additional police officer position to keep making progress towards the staffing levels in the police department. We completed our state housing reports and posted those to the website. It was a state requirement that the planning department worked on. We completed the Southwoods attachment. The piece that's left there is some utility infrastructure that needs to continue to be moved over for our electric utility, but the council's work with that is done. And then the citywide employee recognition program was funded. So there's a number of projects in process in the fourth quarter, and these will continue. This is work that is continuing on into the first quarter. Just a couple highlights here. We continue our work on the next city well, our sewer hydraulic capacity study. The utility committee just had a presentation from our consultant on that this January, and that is a good tool for the city moving forward. Our construction on the public safety facility continues. It is on schedule and is doing well from a budget perspective, so things are going really well there. Thackeray Trail Extension, the Phase 1 construction contract was awarded, and you'll see there's some work that is starting out there. Some trees were removed, and the silt fencing is in place, so that work will continue. Hot off the press, the State Trunk Highway 67 pedestrian underpass. Mark was just telling me that what happened here is the county rebid this in November, and it came in well over estimates. It's about $800,000 over the estimated cost. So the county has been reviewing their options there, and it sounds like this is part of a grant cycle, and the grant will be expiring, so they're going to reapply for a new grant, which would be the 2023 funding cycle. So this will be something that is delayed and is out of our control with how the bids are coming in there and the grant cycle. So that's something we'll continue to monitor and keep our pulse on, because that's something important to the community. CDA just talked about the East Wisconsin Avenue corridor. They released a request for quotes there to look at that area, and we'll continue to study that. And then we have some, our development projects that we've been working on this last quarter, of course, include the Olympia area redevelopment, and then some things in the Paps Farms area, the continued work on Mandel, the car wash project, and then Blue Ribbon Baseball will be coming forward. Our Village Green Committee met in December, prioritized locations, and they're doing further research, and there'll be another meeting coming up here in the first quarter. We started looking at our building inspection services and our engineering services, and we've started implementation of some behind-the-scenes things of our dock management and GIS system. So things that shifted priority, just to keep you up to speed here, our Silver Lake Street and Summit Avenue intersection, we wanted to take a look at that alignment. We're recommending that we shift this to 2021, 2022. With the anticipated opening of Thackeray Trail, we think it would be a good idea to wait to do the updated traffic counts and understand the movements after that movement, or that Thackeray Trail is open, so we can understand what is actually occurring at the intersection and be able to design it appropriately. Our Rosenau Creek Bike and Pedestrian Path, that construction project was underway. The remainder of that will be completed here by summer. Boat launch reconstruction, the council had asked us to explore acquiring the property for future parking. That was something that wasn't necessarily on the strategic plan, but something that the council looked at, and that is in process currently. Contractors doing the work on the first phase of Northeast Regional park, and that work will complete in the summer of 2020 with weather conditions and things this year. And then we moved up the evaluation of sites for the skate park, potential future skate park, and council and Park and Rec Board had reviewed that and identified Roosevelt Park as their primary focus site there. So just a brief look at looking ahead. So all of the things that we talked about are still in process, but we will also start work on with the council on our long-term funding strategies and plan for the city. We need to look at our south parking lot and look at options for our design scope there so we can determine how to move forward. Census 2020 kicks off. The city is involved in that with our city clerk's department, planning, and library are all a part of that effort. Parks and the Park and Rec Board is working on our open space plan update with staff. We're working on a right-of-way ordinance, and we have a kickoff of our OpenGov software, which will be a nice tool for council and the public to have some more information. So that's a quick update of the work and the progress that we've made on the strategic plan. And like I said, we'll be working with the council in the first half of the year to update it and take off the things that we've completed and see if there's other things that we need to put on and shift things around. So with that, I don't have any other reports tonight.
Great, thank you, Sarah. Go ahead.
Yeah, seeing how we just did that update, I have a few quick questions about it.
Yeah.
You actually answered one right at the end, which is, this is cumbersome. You guys know I didn't like the whole strategic plan process in general. I think we waste a lot of time creating documents like this and not actually doing action. But with that being said, it sounds like we can start pulling stuff off that's been completed.
Mm-hmm.
And why do we have to wait for that? Can't we just do that now?
Yeah,
And
and
just
what
maybe
we're
start like a completed task list, you know?
yeah,
that-
we actually have started that. There are items that aren't on here that are completed, and we've taken those off. What we did is try to leave the ones on that were completed this last quarter, so you
Okay.
could see that that happened.
Okay.
And then we'll pull them off quarterly so that the list keeps getting smaller for you.
What I think we should do is keep a completed task
Yep.
list, you know, so
Yep.
that there's another list that we can look at
Sure.
that's quickly, oh, boom, 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 boom. Here's the
Sure.
things we completed since the
That
implementation.
in with the packet then, because
Yeah,
we
once
have
we
it
s-
internally, but.
It's just, this becomes cumbersome because completed in progress, it's
Yeah.
all kind of mixed together. It'd be nice to just see, here's the 25 tasks we've completed in the last
Okay,
year
all
and a
right.
half.
Thank you.
It also looks like we've got progress.
Yeah, because this is cumbersome. The other big question I have is about this pedestrian underpass. So what are we doing as department heads, folks, to pressure Waukesha County or the state on this? Because I get a lot of questions out by me because we're kind of the only area that really has to cross there to get to downtown and the rest of the area. So I get a lot of questions about it. So I'm just curious now that it's out there.
Yeah, so obviously, both the city and Waukesha County are highly supportive of getting this project done. They've put forth a huge effort. It was bid twice. Quite frankly, it just came in, almost $800,000 over the budget. This was on the second bid. We saw some downward movement between the first bidding and the second bidding, but the numbers are, staying up that high. So right now, we're looking and saying, this is what the cost is of doing that work. We didn't have, we used the lower number in the initial grant submittal, about $980,000 for the construction. So our grant was based on that. Knowing that this is where the cost is at and to overcome an $800,000 gap, they opted then to resubmit for a new grant at the higher dollar amount.
So would we look in 2021 now?
So, no, 2023 would then be the earliest construction season on it because the grant cycle is for 2023, 2024.
3 more years.
Wow. That's sad.
And how
It
long has
is.
it been, how long has the thing been in the ground? 4 years already?
They finished the second half of the 67 project in 2016.
It's been in the ground 4 years, so it'll be 7
Yeah.
years before it
So
actually
we had to
connected.
wait for the grant cycle to come around to submit for the initial grant, and we had that. It was bid to be completed, but unfortunately, twice the cost came in high.
Have we reached out to our county executive in our area to see if, or not our county executive, our county supervisor to see if
Yeah.
there's any additional
So,
pressures?
Actually, we've been working with Waukesha County and the county exec on this. We did go to the DOT to see if they had any other funding sources that they could apply to allow us to move forward with the project now versus resubmitting. because there are projects that from time to time don't get completed and then monies go back. We were hoping to get those funds. Unfortunately, there's nothing they could do for that. So, you know, it was either going back and asking for the extra 800,000 or submitting for the grant.
All right,
Tom?
thanks, Mark.
Should have put it in right at the beginning to save themselves all that cash, but that's okay. You mentioned that property over on Wisconsin Avenue. What is taking so long on that particular thing? I think, didn't we approve that 4, 5, 6 months ago? And the only reason being because I'll talk to you about that after the meeting. I just wondered what's holding it up because it's going to hurt in the near future.
Yeah, I don't remember the specific date, but it was the end of the year when we were able to retain our appraiser, and he's in the process now.
Sent it today.
Yep, okay.
So it was a appraiser deal?
Yep.
Oh,
Appraisal that's back today.
yeah, it's too late though, unfortunately, if you go up there and see what's going on there. And the last
Never
part,
too late. We can condemn it tomorrow.
okay, better hurry up. And then that other, what was it, software at the back, the last,
OpenGov software. Mhm.
yeah? You getting it from Iowa?
Thank you.
You're all done?
Yes.
Reports and comments from Alderman? Kevin?
I just want to say Chili Fest was really good this year. I thought it was a fantastic time. A lot of people came out. The weather wasn't so bad. And this is the second or third year I've done this, and I've never been able to go to all 10. One day I'll be able to do it. Very good, though.
Do 100 push-ups like you did that one night. That'll take care of it.
Yeah, well.
Any other comments? Seeing none, reports and comments from the mayor, I have none tonight, so we just need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.